This next go around, we're coming in for a landing. See how well we can do this. We're gonna rate profile 3. And we got her down. So that was the first flight. I was actually very excited. I was very happy that I got through and flew it that well. But I will also say that I had a few difficulties because, again, the crosswind. I did take a chance flying the plane that day. I possibly could have waited for a calmer day and I would have had a much better experience and possibly not even crashed, which you're getting ready to see. But had a crosswind, and so I did run off the runway a couple of times. Not only that, but about half of the field was damp and soggy. So I was trying to use the half of the field that was not to do my takeoffs and landings in, which actually worked out pretty well for other planes that I flew on that day. But for this particular one, the way I tried to take off the last time, which was a way that I was not actually comfortable with, the plane was facing me, which you'll see in the video, and well, let's just take a look. And now, yeah, the wind is going that way. Okay.
Rate profile 2. Rate profile 1. Pressure active.
That was it.
Engine off.
Destroyed. What did I do? The plane was facing me, which I've not really taken off with it facing me down the field like that before, which means that you have to keep that in mind. Orientation to the aircraft and the direction it's flying, you need to make your corrections based on the direction that the aircraft is facing. So I had this crosswind, hit the aircraft as I'm coming up, made the air, essentially took me into a U-turn. I was attempting to, my first thought was to try to counter, but it happened so quickly that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and let it make that complete U-turn and give it as much throttle as possible so we can keep it up off the ground and back on the elevator. Turns out that I basically did I believe they call that a stall turn. This is a balsa wood plane. It doesn't glide as well as it possibly could because it has a little bit of weight. So it nosed down straight into the ground, and that was it. In that spot where it crashed, I realized this once I got home. It broke off my spinner. So my spinner is actually still out there in the field, stuck into the ground. The next time I go out there, I'll probably find it. But I did, because I pulled out my prop, which had broken off, and also broke off the end of the motor. So I'm going to do some tests on the motor itself. The plane is absolutely repairable. It really is. The only thing is, because I'm not a balsa flyer, I don't have or builder, I don't have all of the tools necessary to really get in and repair this plane. I do have a ton of woodworking tools, not necessarily the smaller tools that you might use for repairing balsa, and I've never reskinned a plane before. So I think that for the nose, and this is just me thinking, and you can let me know in the comment section what you think, but I think for the nose of the plane, I'm going to need to take off the covering so I can see all of the cracks. So that's going to have to be recovered, and I'm also going to need to make sure that I actually clean up all of the cracks and get some nice CA glue into those cracks to get that firm, and remount my firewall. And of course, doing some checks on all of the electronics. One servo, actually all of my servos I want to check to make sure are working properly. But the aileron servo in particular, I want to make sure that that's working properly, as well as go ahead and check my motor to make sure the motor didn't get any real damage when it hit the ground. The ground was pretty soft, so I imagine the motor should be fine. Just got a little dirt in it, which I tried to clean out. Clean that out. Check the motor, make sure it's working fine. I've been going back and forth on whether or not it is beneficial for me to rebuild this plane and get it back up in the air, or should I just let it go and use the electronics to build a foam plane. But I do believe that the electronics for this plane are probably quite a bit much for any foam plane that I would possibly build, unless I'm trying to build a 3D foam plane, which has a pretty good size on it. That it might not work that well. So I do believe that I'm going to take the time to try to rebuild this. I'm also wondering if I'm going to ask for some assistance from Gordon, who has got a whole workshop, or Terry, who is out here, who lives out here close to me, all a part of the club, to see if they can help me out with rebuilding or not. I honestly believe that they'll be extremely helpful, but at the same point, I'm kind of like, maybe I should try to do this myself, and I don't want to request too much from others. I mean, if I'm getting into this, I should be able to do certain things myself. So we'll see how these things work out. Again, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. I absolutely love to hear from you. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video.